I recently took a cruise out of Manhattan, New York, and I'm going to show you how you can cut your parking cost in half, which is going to save you hundreds of dollars. I had a lot of concerns about doing this safely and making sure that my car was not vandalized, damaged, or stolen by the time I got back from my cruise. I also had concerns about how long it would take and how difficult and cumbersome it will be. I answer all these concerns and more in the upcoming video, which is going to show you step by step how to park your car at a Manhattan terminal and save hundreds of dollars. Let's start by showing you what the port looks like and what you need to do first. If you have never been to the Manhattan, New York terminal, this is what it looks like. And what you're looking at right now is a battleship. Actually, it's an aircraft carrier called the Intrepid. And right next to it, you can see is the cruise terminal. And we're going to show you exactly what you need to do first. And the first thing is, if you have a second passenger, drive up and drop them off. There is parking available right next to the ship at the cruise port, and as you can see from the sign posted right here, it is expensive. You're looking at $45 a day plus tax. So if you're here for a 10-day cruise, that's $450, and then with tax, you're looking at just a little bit more. But as you can see, it's directly right next to the ship, so it doesn't get any more convenient than this parking space right here. However, it does come at a premium, and it is going to be very expensive. Now, I'm going to show you a way that you can do this for half the cost. However, it's going to cost you a little bit of time, and I'm going to go through step by step how much time it's going to cost. And I'm also going to show you the parking lot to let you know how safe it's going to be. Very rarely do people cruise alone. So if you have a person with you, the first thing you want to do is drop them off along with your luggage right at the cruise port. You can pull up to the top deck like what we're doing right now, and you can drop them off with all your luggage, and they will check the heavy luggage in so the person who you're dropping off doesn't have to lug that luggage around. It's a very convenient service that they provide, and then you drive to the parking space. Now, I say parking space, but it really is a parking lot. And the first thing you're going to want to do is enter the address. The address is in the description below. And you're going to have to drive through this tunnel right here, and it's going to cost you $17. But don't worry, after it's all said and done, you're going to end up saving money. Now, the tunnel is called the Lincoln Tunnel, and the only upside about the charge is that it's a one-time charge. It's $17.63 to enter New York. It's slightly lower if you use the Easy Pass, and when you leave New York, there is no charge. The Lincoln Tunnel took you underneath the Hudson River and onto New Jersey. So what you're looking at right now is actually shots of New Jersey, and what you're looking at now is actually a shot of Manhattan across the river into New Jersey. I'm just showing you the roadway so you understand that you're going to be traveling through a residential neighborhood. Be mindful of time. If you're asking how long this takes, it took me 20 minutes to drive all the way from the port to the parking garage in New Jersey. Once we get to the parking lot, you're going to have to park your car in the parking garage and then take a ferry over to New York, and I'm going to show you that entire process. And as you're looking at these images right here, you see people are walking with their bag. These are other cruisers. They just got off the ship that I'm going to get on, and they are walking towards this hotel right here. The hotel, the reason why I'm showing you that is because the parking garage is directly below this hotel. One of the major concerns I had was that my car was going to be in a parking lot in nowhere, and it was going to be vandalized. It was going to have, be in the sun and the elements all day, but it's not. And as you can see, there are other cruisers doing the exact same thing. But this is the shot of the hotel. It is a really nice upscale hotel. You're not going to be disappointed. Now, the parking garage is completely separate from the hotel. They're not connected at all. You can spend the night here, before going on your cruise. But as you can see, it's a very nice hotel. And unfortunately, the parking garage and the hotel have no relation to one another. So that means if you stay here for the night, you're not going to save any money in the parking. But as you can see, you're directly across not only the water ferry terminal, but also directly across from New York City. So I thought this was a great option if you wanted to ever spend the night here. The major downside in staying in the hotel is that it's going to cost you several $100s, and the hotel and parking garage are not affiliated whatsoever. However, the parking garage is located directly beneath the hotel, and this is what it looks like as you drive into the garage parking area. If you don't remember anything else from this video, remember this: do not, under any circumstances, lose your parking ticket. If you do, they will charge you the full rate, which is going to be much more expensive. However, it's going to cost you only $22 per night in order for you to park your car here, which is half the price of what it would cost you to park in Manhattan. I am going to pan the camera around so you can see what the other cars that are parked here look like. And as you can see, there are several luxury cars. Some are parked here short term, some are parked here long term. But again, the most important thing you want to do is not to lose that parking stub that you get. And also, don't leave it in your car. Don't leave things in your car that make it look like you're here for long term. The next thing you're going to want to do is take the elevator downstairs and simply walk across the street. As we're walking across the street, you see people still coming from the cruise ship because other folks are doing the exact same thing that you're doing. They're cutting their parking cost in half by simply taking a ferry across the river. Directly across the street from the hotel is the New York Waterway Terminal. For a fee of $10, it's going to transport you from New Jersey to the other side of the river, which is going to be the New York Terminal. The next obstacle, if you want to call it that, is going to be getting a ticket for the ferry. There is two ways you can do it. You can go to the information center and they will tell you exactly how to do it. You can use the kiosk, or you can go to the cashier and pay with your credit card and they'll give you a ticket. Very simple. I'm going to pan the camera around so you can see what the ferry terminal looks like. There's a snack place for you to get something to eat, but for the most part, people simply park their car and walk through here in order to get to the ferry, and it's not a long walk from the hotel to the terminal to the ferry. If you're confused and don't know what to do, there are actual human beings here to help you and tell you exactly where you want to go. They realize that people do this on a regular basis, so they'll point you in the right direction. If nothing else, just follow the people who have large luggage. As you can see, the ferry is not very crowded at all. It gives you a breathtaking view of New York. There are people on the ferry taking photographs and selfies and all that kind of stuff. The day I was there was pretty cloudy, so not necessarily the best day for a photograph of the skyline of New York, but the ferry ride was very comfortable. I felt like I got my vacation started early. Also, it was extremely comfortable. If you have gotten so far any value out of this video, the best thing that you can do to help me and support my channel is simply hit the like button. If you really like it, then I suggest that you subscribe. There's tons of content about cruises and about fun things that you can do all over the DC metro area and throughout the world. In addition to safety and convenience, time was going to be a major concern for me doing this. So let me break down the time so far so you can understand how long this has taken. So it took 20 minutes to drive from New York to New Jersey, then another 10 minutes for me to park my car, 10 minutes to buy my ticket and get onto the ferry, and the ferry ride was 15 minutes. So all in, right now I'm in it for 55 minutes. As you can see, you're not going to be the only cruiser doing this. These are people who are getting off the ship that I plan to board. And as you can see, they're doing it because they realize that they can save $100 or $200 by just simply taking a 1 hour detour out of their way. This is what the port looks like on the other side of the river. And as you can see, it's very similar to what the port on the New Jersey side looks like. Right now, I'm just going to pan the camera around so you can get a full overview of to what this port looks like. As you can see, there's not a lot of people here. There are places that you can go if you're confused, and they'll direct you exactly where you want to go. But to make a long story short, once you get out of the terminal, just basically turn to the left and walk in that direction, and you'll come across the cruise port terminals. The walk to the terminal took me 11 minutes, and that's me walking at a slow, leisurely pace. However, if you don't want to do that, you can rent one of these bikes for about 20 bucks and you can bike it on over there. I didn't see many people doing that. Most people just enjoyed the nice, relaxing walk. And if you want to rent one of these bikes, you will need a credit card. The next series of shots I'm going to show you are things that I saw along my walk to the port terminal. One of the regrets that many passengers on board my ship had was that the New York port was very difficult. They had a hard time boarding and getting on board the ship. However, if you get there early enough, there are tons of things that you can do directly outside the port at a nominal cost. One way to look at the port time is it being your first excursion. There's lots of things to do here. There's the Empire State Trail. This runs several hundred miles, but it's a beautiful biking trail all along the port leading to the cruise terminal. There is Circle Cruise Line. You can take a cruise for about maybe $30 to $40, and it will You go on the Hudson River, you'll see the Statue of Liberty, along with many other notable sites. And there's also the Intrepid Museum. This is an aircraft carrier that has ships, and you can tour it at your leisure. There are benches that you can sit down and just enjoy the time and space. This is the Intrepid I spoke about just a minute ago. But there's lots of things that you can do to occupy your time. I think it's a mistake to get there early, hours early, and just sit in the terminal and do absolutely nothing. As you can see, these folks right here are walking back towards the port. This is what the port looks like. The cost of the parking garage I just showed you was $22 per day. However, parking right next to the cruise terminal is going to be $45 a day. Some parking garages not far away will cost you as much as $60 per day. The challenge is that it's going to cost you a little bit more time. Parking in New Jersey and taking the ferry over, that's going to be $22 per day. So that's going to be about half the cost of parking next to it. Now, you give up the convenience of parking next to the ship. However, you do save about $200 if you go on a 10-day cruise. You have to do the math. If it's a short cruise, it may not be worth it, but for the most part, I think you'll find it's the best option.